Welcome back. Fox 5's On the Hill live this Sunday morning. President Trump is now going after DC's home rule, which was made law back in the 1970s. The president says the federal government should take over DC, saying, quote, there is too much crime, too much graffiti, and too many tents on the lawn. We want to welcome back into Fox 5's On the Hill Brooke Pinto. She's a DC Councilmember representing Ward 2. Thank you for being here. It's no secret that the president has been critical of the District of Columbia over the past, period of time. What was the reaction from council members when you heard that the president on Air Force One says that he's not just critical now, that he actually wants to take control of the District of Columbia?
Well, good morning, Tom, and thank you for having me. We have had home rule and limited local government for the last 50 years in Washington, D.C. And over the course of the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of anxiety in the District of Columbia, whether it's the reduction in the federal workforce, the comments the president has made around our immigrant communities or LGBTQ communities, and it's very distressing to me and to a lot of us. What I and my colleagues are staying focused on now is doing everything we can to run our city the best way we can, focusing on safety. We ended the year following the passage of my bill, Secure DC, with the lowest violent crime numbers we've had in 30 years. With homeless encampments, we have reduced the number of people living outside in encampments by nearly half. So there are a lot of progress and steps that we're taking to make sure that we're supporting district residents and recognizing the very real reality that we have an added responsibility as the nation's capital.
But this represents a real existential threat to not only DC home rule, but to the ability of DC residents to elect their own local leaders. And you, as a council member, could be out of a job if the district were to suddenly lose this ability. Do you have to be careful about how you talk about this right now to not anger the White House?
So, regardless of the administration, our partnership with the federal government is always important. There is a role that the federal government can and should play to support things like safety. We need the federal government to step in and appoint judges to fill our vacancies. We still have 10 vacant judges on our Superior Court, several on our Court of Appeals. We need our presidential appointed U.S. attorney to prosecute local violent crime. We need the federal government to step in and help with things like reimbursement for our police coverage of federal events. So there are a lot of roles the federal government can and should play, and that's what we're focused on.
The mayor, when asked about this, said she's going to be strategic in dealing with this and didn't necessarily think that there was connective tissue between what the president was saying and this congressional bill on the Hill right now, which would get rid of DC home rule. However, there are some things that the White House and you on the council agree on. Let's start with crime, because you were the council member who led the effort to boost penalties after the failed rewrite of the criminal code. 35% drop in violent crime in the district right now is a significant improvement. However, the White House is looking at that right now and saying it's not enough. What can you say to them to allay those concerns that things are heading in the right direction?
Well, one crime is too many in Washington, D.C. for our local residents and with our responsibility as the nation's capital. We should be the safest city in America. And so my efforts and work are continuing to double down on what we did last year that is effective, making sure we're continuing to support our police department. I have a new bill we're moving this week around making sure we can retain our officers so they can retire, get their retirement benefits, but still stay on the force. That's going to be hugely important to our officers and our fire department. Ensuring that we're merging our violence interruption efforts so that we can have more efficacy there. So there's a lot that we are doing in our local government to make sure that we can make true on the reality that everybody should be safe.